Judith Jacobs, thank you for joining Green Borders Online Magazine.
No problem.
Do appreciate it. Can I begin by asking you what inspired you to join the acting profession?
I've always wanted to be an actress from primary school. That was the only thing I've ever wanted to do. And there wasn't people that looked like me on the telly, but it didn't stop me from wanting to be. I had people like Joan Crawford and Betty Davis that were my inspiration. And there was also an American actress, Dion Carroll, she was in a series, I think it was called Julia. And she was this nurse in it. And I just went, yeah, this is me, this is what I want to do. Even though my mother tried to, when I was younger, she bought me this book and it showed you the life of an actress. And it was, you got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you had to be at makeup, you stayed on set until 10 o'clock, then you got to bed and you started all over again. I just thought, this is the most exciting thing in the world. And I went, oh, right then, that hasn't put her off.
Did you get the support from your parents?
Yeah, my mum said that, you know, you've got to do what you want to do. And so I've done every single play at primary school, and when I got older I went to this place called Anna Shear's Theatre. It was a waiting list of only 6 months, which grew longer later on, like 4 years or something, but it was only 6 months when I joined. And that was because when I was in secondary school there was a friend of mine there, and she'd said, and that's where she goes. So I said to my parents what it is, and I think it was like £1.50 a class or something. We didn't have, that's a lot of money at the time, and my mum was like, yep, go ahead, go and do it. And so that's what I was doing. So I was very, very lucky. And whilst I was there and I was at school, I was just doing my A-levels. I'd been working. My very first job was when I was 13, and I was playing this young girl that was a follower of Donny Osmond as opposed to Michael Jackson. So so I was there doing that as that job, and then when I was 17 I was doing my A-levels, and then I had this Angels, this nurses series audition came up, and I got the job, and then it meant I had to leave school, which my mum just said, go for it. And my dad was like, no, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a doctor. But I wanted to be an actress, and I was getting a chance to do something that I wanted to always do in my life, so yeah.
Was playing Karma Roberts in EastEnders your biggest role, do you think?
Okay, EastEnders is a huge thing, but it wasn't my biggest role. For me, when I'd done No Problem, because I'd done Angels, and Angels was, this is what I left school to do at 17, was Angels, a nurses series, and it was what you would call your original soap, but it wasn't on all year long. It was like 9 months of the year, and it would stop and come back.
Was that BBC?
BBC, yeah, so that was a huge, and that was the first time I got recognised in public.
How old were you at the time?
17. And so literally one day nobody gives a damn who you are. The next day I'm on the bus and everybody was staring at me, and I got so para. I got off the bus, I was crying, I phoned my boyfriend to there's all these people staring at me. And he's like, all right, Judith, calm down, calm down. He said, look, when was the last time you've seen somebody from telly on the bus? Never. He said, that's why they were staring at you. So I said, oh, okay. Then I said, I'm not getting the bus, I'm walking to see you now. So I decided to just walk and go and see him. But EastEnders was a huge programme. But when I'd done No Problem, which was a black comedy, which was with Black Theatre Co-op, that was such a different buzz. It was my community was in love with us. They loved what we were doing. It was a modern, it was about us, done in this really, we were based in a house. Our parents had gone off to the Caribbean and we were lived in the house. We had Bellamy, who lived in the garden, and his name reflected who he was. He had animals and stuff lived in there. We had Toshiba, who was the pirate DJ having his stuff in his bedroom. You had me, Sensimilia, who was a motorbike leather dressing person who also wanted to be a lawyer. You had Terry, who was a model, but actually she was a bit model, which means you showed her hand or her feet, but she thought she was the most wonderful thing on earth. And the only sane person was Angel, which was Janet Kay playing that part. It was me and Victor Romero Evans and Chris Tummins and Fume, and it was just, yes, EastEnders was probably the most worldwide, but No Problem was the one that I loved most.
I understand that you've paved the way for black actors in EastEnders now. Is that right, Judith?
You know what? No, certainly not true, because there was a black family, the Carpenters, that started it with Paul Medford and how can I not remember the guy's name? Anyway, there was a very established male actor that's been around for ages. Anyway, they were there before me, and I came and joined the cast, I think maybe 2 or 3 years after they'd already started. So no, I didn't pave the way.
Would you say you are a role model and an inspiration to black actors?
I wouldn't have said that, but I have had a couple of people that's come up to me and have said that you've made me want to be an actress by watching you, and I'm like, really? That's so cute.
That must make you feel amazing.
Yeah, because I can't imagine that I've been an inspiration, maybe to your child, but to people that don't know you, and to come up and say that, that's kind of cool. I like that.
Have you ever experienced racism in your acting profession?
Right, now, I am very blinkered. I don't notice things around me and I don't see it, but I have had a couple of incidents, and one of them was when I was doing this voiceover job, and this man had recommended me, and he actually was working on EastEnders at the time, and he said, "Oh, do you want to do voiceover?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "All right, I'll put your name up." So I went there, and I walked in, and I could see their faces drop. So he obviously didn't tell them that I was a black actress because it wasn't relevant to him. So I walked in, their face dropped, and I looked at the script, and I saw the guy, and I said, "Oh, hi, Judith." I was looking at it, and I said, "Oh, can we read it?" He goes, "Well, I like to just look at it myself." I said, "All right, fine." So I was reading it a couple of times, and then he came off, and he went next door, and these guys were just sitting there talking. I noticed they were talking, but I didn't pay much attention to it. Came back, we'd done the read. They didn't give me much guidance on how they wanted it. They kept saying, "Oh, do you want this? Do you want that?" I'm like, "Oh, well, we just thought you'd know what you were doing," sort of thing. And my agent phoned me the next day and said, "They don't want to pay you." And I said, well, they said you were a bit unprofessional because you kept reading the script beforehand. I said, "Well, that's what you do. If you haven't seen it, you read it." Didn't have that be unprofessional, but it was basically because, and me and my agent knew what it was at the end. She said, "Do you think it was?" I said, "Yeah."
How do you deal with that, Judith?
You know, by being naive is quite interesting because they had to dwell in their own thing, whereas I wasn't aware that they were looking at me in any way like that. I think now, because now I respond, now I hear it and see it, whereas before I never saw myself in that light, in that, yes, I'm a black actress, but I'm an actress and I don't see what the problem would have been. But now I'm probably a bit more aware, and I will actually we were doing EastEnders, and there was a line in there that one of the actors had to say, and I wasn't in the scene, it was another guy called Carrie MacDonald, and she was saying to him that, "Well, why are the palms of black people's hands white? I can't understand that." I said, "Oh, it made her sound like she was talking about a monkey." And I said to him, "How do you feel about that?" And he said, "What do you think, Chief?" I said, "Well, I'd like it taken out." I said, "But we've got to be prepared to lose our jobs because you can't make a stand without knowing where your end line is going to be." And he said, "Yeah, I'm with you." And then I spoke to Julia Smith, who was the producer on it, and I said, "I really don't like that line. It just seems so unnecessary." And she goes, "Judith, I'll listen to it and I'll see." She came back, she goes, "You're right, it's not necessary," and took it out. So we never had to lose our jobs, but it was the first time that I actually made a stand on something. So yes, I would make a stand, as long as I'm aware of it, because sometimes I'm just very naive and don't notice, but yeah.
Do you think there is fair opportunism for black actors in today's world?
No, acting world is just a reflection of the world we live in, and the world we live in, I found out today that you've got like 60 or 50% of young black men who are available for work are unemployed, and the world we live in outside is not favourable. So it's the same. And right now, the dramas they're talking about are Downtown Abbey, upstairs, downstairs. They're going to period pieces where I'm not involved. So no, at the moment, I think we've gone backwards. In the 80s, there was so much stuff going on, but because we're now doing this integration stuff, so if you've got a black actor in it, you don't need to represent us anymore, and it's a shame. I think Goodness Gracious Me was the last of that bulk. Actually, I'm not sure. They had a series called The Crouches, but it was a bad series, and I think they've then decided that because that everybody complained about it, they don't need to make an effort to do it anymore. But it was bad.
Is there more opportunity on the stage, would you say?
Yes, but that's because people can create their own work on stage now. There was the Posse and the BB Crew. The Posse was 8 black actors, and the BB Crew was 7 female actresses. And we wrote, produced, directed our own stuff. And I keep telling young people today now the same thing. you can go to a theatre. Sometimes I'll do a box office split, and there's a few theatres like Theatre Royal Stratford, Tricycle, Hackney Empire. They are theatres that are known for putting on black work, and if you come to them with an idea, you can get it on. So most definitely, theatre is a much more open space. And it's weird because if you ever see black productions, they are sold out. Sold out. So if people invested in that stuff, they would realise they'll get their money back.
Do you prefer the stage or TV, Judith?
You know, people ask you that all the time. Telly pays you. And unless you're in the West End, theatre doesn't really pay you as much. But theatre allows you to practice your art on a regular basis. You'll have a great performance tonight, but the next day you've got a new audience and they have to see a great performance. In telly, if you do a great performance, it's there for life. You don't ever have to recreate that. But also, if you've done a bad performance, it's also there for life. So either way, it works against you. So if it's for money, definitely telly. To practice your art, theatre.
Would you encourage members of your own family to follow in your acting footsteps?
My daughter wants to be an actress.
Oh, does she?
Yeah, and
wow.
She is. It's so funny. Her dad and her grandmother, her dad's mother, keep saying to her, "You really should find yourself a proper job." And I think, "What are you saying? That's my job. You can't be telling my daughter that." So she just ignores them. But it's so different now because you can go online, and there are things online that tells you what loads of jobs are, which never happened before. Your agent was the one that put you up for stuff, but now, so there's all these young people that have been entrepreneurial about finding out about jobs. A lot of them are supporting artists, which she's just finished doing a Bollywood supporting artist in there, and some of her friends have been doing other things, and yeah, it's. But they're also, by doing that, they're not giving you what your value is, but you're getting to practice your skill, and the only way to get better is to practice your skill. So yes, my daughter wants to do it. I have been nothing but encouraging, except to tell her that she should try to make sure she's got a second bow to her string, which is what I was told when I went to Anna Shear's theatre. Because when it's all going great, it's fantastic, but this business is very fickle, and there are times when you're out of favour and you still have to pay bills. So
tell Green Borders about your involvement in the fitness world.
Yes, because that's my second string to my bow. I always trained. I've done martial arts for ages. I used to do a form called whaling, and then I've done Wing Chun. And my friends are going to me, "Well, why don't you do that?" I said, "No, I just want to train." I said, "Well, you will be able to train, but you'll be able to teach people." And then I went and done a couple of courses, and now I'm a fitness instructor as well, and I love it. And I could only do something that I love. I should say I'm lucky that I've got two professions that I love to do. And
so can members of the public contact you and
yeah, well, I teach in
services?
I do private and I'm also teaching. I'm a freelancer, so that I can go off and do my acting when I need to, and so that's. But Beverly Callard from Coronation Street is also a fitness instructor, and that was the selling point to me. I went, "Really? She's she's still acting and doing her thing." So I said, "Yes, I can definitely do that."
Do you think it's important to be fit today?
Yes. I think that you should be able to run for a bus and not collapse by the time you get on the bus. So, yeah, and there's all this stuff about obesity that I've been listening to, and young people, and fast food, and people not cooking enough, basically. I mean, I'm not a fond of cooking, but I do have cooked food. So, yeah, I think fitness is so important, just for your liberty, just so that you can live longer, healthier. Yes.
And are we going to see you on TV again, Judith?
I hope so. No, not hope so. You will. You will be seeing me on TV again. I was lucky last year. I've done a couple of films. Don't know when they're out or what they're doing, but done a couple of films. And this year, the world is my oyster.
Great. Listen, thank you ever so much for joining Green Borders on our magazine. I do appreciate your time, Judith.
Thank you.
And good luck for the future.
Cheers.
Thank you.